Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Today I'll be talking about finding your zone of genius. Have you ever been confused about what career to pick? Or have you picked a career and then maybe you even thought about changing careers? That applies to you if you are a professional and you decide to change your career. Well, I have great news for you. You are not alone. Because a lot of people face this dilemma. Choosing what to do for the rest of our lives is one of the most important decisions that we ever make. Yet, 80% of college-bound students have no clue whatsoever what they want to do with the rest of their lives or what to major in, because they are not equipped with the life skills or with the self-awareness that it takes to come to that decision. And I can attest to this as an instructor at NC State University. Most of my students are Chinese. I teach in the intensive English program, and they all want to major in engineering. When I ask them, why do you want to major in engineering? They don't have an answer to that question. They just choose electrical engineering. That's just the thing to choose. When I was in grade school, in elementary school and middle school, high school, I was blessed with the awareness of my strengths and weaknesses at a very young age. I knew from the get-go that I was not left-brained. And I was totally math challenged and did not really enjoy science classes except for basic biology. On the other hand, having grown up in Istanbul, Turkey, learning English as a second language was my passion. The feeling of being able to think, dream, and express myself in another language was out of this world. I also loved singing and acting and spent my entire junior high and high school years having a very active part in my school's drama club. This was my pre-Islamic era. So I was the typical right-brain child with very creative expression. And when I was in high school, my ideal majors were pretty much musical theater, English, and journalism. However, as I embraced my faith and decided to wear the hijab as a freshman in college, I eventually had to let go of musical theater because I would be limiting myself to The Sound of Music and Sister Act. And English by itself seemed just too plain. So I finally chose journalism as my major. It was the ideal major for me. I loved writing. And professionally, it was a good, rewarding career financially. And it was also cool to say I'm a journalist. However, I was dead wrong. When I graduated from college, I got my first journalism job as a news writer. And I absolutely hated it. The idea of sitting in front of a computer from 9 to 5 in a very deadline-driven environment with minimal contact with human beings was the worst job for me because I loved people. And I had this idea that I'd be out on the streets and capturing all this news, and it was not what I had expected. So I asked myself the question, Yasemin, can you do this for the next 30 years? And the answer was no. The next day, I gave my boss the 30-day notice that I would not be coming back. And I never looked back. I was not going to settle for a job that was going to make me feel miserable and make me feel mediocre, no matter how much I was getting paid for that. I felt free as a bird at first. I was just so excited. Okay, I'm going to venture into something new. But with the freedom came worry and disappointment. I was worried because all of a sudden, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I was disappointed because I had spent so much money, as an international student, paying out-of-state tuition, and so much effort into my education. So I all of a sudden felt it was useless. But subhanAllah, through a series of miraculous events, I landed a job. I was able to pick myself up and say, okay, I can get out of this situation of being miserable and finding my purpose again in life. And I, alhamdulillah, landed a job in New York City in teaching in an Islamic school as an English teacher. And from day one, I loved it. Even though I was not trained to become a teacher, I somehow got into it, and it was sink or swim, and I decided that I was going to do the latter. And I loved connecting with my students every day. In my classroom, I felt like I was changing the world. And to me, it wasn't just, I know I wasn't stopping hunger or I wasn't doing something amazing like that, but I know that I was molding the next generation. And to me, that was changing somebody's world. So I knew that this was it for me. This was the best career and that Allah had a way for me to get into this. So I went ahead and pursued my master's in TESOL, which is teaching English to speakers of other languages, and decided to become a teacher at the university for many reasons, because you just get better perks with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But 3 years ago, I did something, again, totally different. And this was prompted by an experience that I had with a student. A student of mine was going through all sorts of problems. She had mental health problems, she had academic problems, she had personal problems, financial problems, everything, you name it, she had it. And she came to me for help. I wasn't a counselor, I wasn't a therapist, but I was willing to help her as a teacher, as a coach, as a mentor. And I told her, I said, when she told me she was about to quit college, I said, okay, listen, I'm going to help you. We're going to sit every day for 3 months, every week for 3 months, and map out something for you, map out an action plan, and get you back on your feet. And this was the beginning of Amplify Your Dreams. I started Amplify Your Dreams as a company just to really help more students, more young people, empower women and youth to dream big dreams. And this is where I found my zone of genius. I finally found it. When you're working and you're really enjoying your work, your passion is there, your heart is there, it doesn't feel like work anymore. It really feels like a vacation. And you enjoy it, you don't feel like you're counting the hours till you punch out. So I have 5 strategies today, 5 tips of finding your zone of genius. The first one is focusing on your strengths. Now, everyone, might do that one day in their lives, like sit down and really think about their strengths, think about the things that make them unique. But not all the time do we choose to actually take those strengths and utilize them, or take those strengths and make that our career. So I totally believe that it's very important for everyone to be successful and truly fulfilled. We have to focus on our strengths and really go with that in our lives. And the second thing is to find your passion, to really zone in and just narrow it down to your niche. Because as most creative people, I have a lot of interests, but I had to narrow down my interests to, for example, focusing on just the women and the youth, because I figured out that I can't help everybody and I can't help everybody do everything. So I had to focus on helping people, helping women and youth achieve their dreams. So really focusing it down to one passion or 2, the most. And thirdly, aligning your passion and your strengths with your ultimate purpose. I mean, our ultimate purpose as Muslims is to leave a legacy, to make it to Jannah the best way that we can, but to leave a dent in the world somehow, a positive one, where we touch lives and make a difference for our ummah. So I think to see our career not just as a means of sustenance, but as a means of changing lives, it just makes it so much more fulfilling. And subhanAllah, when you do it that way, your sustenance comes pouring into your way anyway. So number 4 would be striving for excellence. As we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants us to be excellent in whatever we do. I mean, everything that we do Islamically, even our prayers, we need to do it a certain way. The way we fast, we need to do it a certain way. So that shows us that Islamically we're taught to be excellent. So it's very important as an ummah to really strive to do that. And how do we do it? By practicing and by applying the 10,000 hour or the 10,000 time rule, which states that you need to practice something about 10,000 times, or at least for 10,000 hours, to become a master at it, to become a pro at it. So that's really the goal. And finally, is to take risks and not be afraid of failing. Because a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of people that I coach, one of the first things that they're struggling with is their mindset. They're afraid to do something. They don't know what to do, and they know what to do, but they're afraid to do it, and they're afraid to fail at it and make a fool of themselves. But if we don't take a chance and we don't try, we will never know if we're going to succeed or not. And I believe that if you keep doing something and you're really passionate about it, that you will succeed in the end, inshallah. In conclusion, being really like passionate about your topic, being passionate about whatever you do in your life is the key to total fulfillment and success. So don't be stuck in a job that makes your heart sink, but find the one that makes your heart sing. Thank you.